Hello and welcome everybody to my channel, The Feminine Frame. I'm so happy to have you ladies here today. And of course, some of you here are looking for love, but are you looking for love in the right places, or are you looking for it in all the wrong places? So that brings me to the topic of the day. This is a question that gets asked often enough, so I thought that we should address it. The question is, where can I find a red pill man? So sometimes we have ladies coming onto the forums or messaging me. I'm ready to get married. I want to have kids. Where can I find a red pill man? Like, this seems kind of intuitive, right? Red pill men, red pill women, they should just go together. I'm afraid that the answer to this question might be just a little bit disappointing to some of you who are, hoping to make a match today. The direct answer to this question is that, quite frankly, I don't know where to find red pill men. Red pill communities exist largely online, and red pill men want to keep their spaces for just men. If you as a woman were to go onto one of their forums, you would quickly get the boot. They would show you the door, you would be banned. So if they are meeting up somewhere and having live meetups, well, then frankly, I'm not invited, and that's fine. But the more important answer to this question is, should you even be looking for a red pill man? And the answer is probably not. And the easiest way to illustrate this, I think, is we're going to take an imaginary stereotype, the most stereotypical red pill man and a very stereotypical red pill woman, and imagine them trying to date. And so we're going to go through this whole scenario and see why it usually doesn't actually work out. Now, I realize that there is a wide breadth of people in the red pill men community, there's a wide breadth of people in the red pill women community, and that not everybody fits into this stereotype. So if you are listening to this and you don't fit into the stereotype, just take a deep breath, relax. I realize that this isn't everybody, but I think that if you're being honest, then you kind of recognize these stereotypes. So as being a large portion of these communities. If you were to meet a red pill person in the wild, that this might be a pretty fair representation. Okay, so our red pill man, I'm going to call him Chad. So Chad here, he is a man who is either a young man who has heard all his life how masculinity is toxic and women want equality, so everything must be equal. Or Chad might be a little bit older and maybe he's coming out of a bad divorce where there have been lots of custody battles, and he's coming out of that a little bit bitter. So that is Chad. And then over here on this hand, we have Mary Sue. And Mary Sue is our typical red pill woman, and she is likely very conservative politically, very likely goes to church, and she is looking for marriage. She wants to get married soon and be a stay-at-home wife and stay at home with the kids, raise the family up, and be a support to her husband. Okay, so that is the setup. We have Chad and Mary Sue. Now, Chad and Mary Sue, they catch each other's eye. Maybe they connect through mutual friends or a dating app, but they are getting together and let's go on their first date. Of course, they're trying to both be their most charming versions of themselves, but we get to the end of the date and the waiter brings out the bill. What happens? Well, Chad, remember, he's grown up saying, women are equal to men, we want equality. And he's just come out of a bad relationship. And so he says, I don't want to be taken in. I don't want to be taken advantage of again. And women want equality after all, so she's going to pay. And then Mary Sue over here, she says, I want to get married to a guy who is going to be a provider for a family. And so I want a masculine man who is going to take on a traditional role. A traditional man pays. And so already, first date, a lot of times red pill men and red pill women, if they were to meet in the wild and date in the wild, on the first date, they're just going to eliminate themselves because they They're just coming from different places. So they're just going to separate and part and go different ways on the first date. So that is not a very good start. But let's play pretend and imagine that they do get past the first date and they decide to keep seeing each other. So what happens then? One of the big questions in modern dating is, when should you get intimate? Mary Sue, she is a traditional woman, and if she's religious, she might be saving herself for marriage. She would at least want to be in a relationship before she gets intimate with somebody and has intercourse. Now, Chad here, on the other hand, he's maybe come from a dead bedroom, and he does not want to get trapped into something like that again. And so he's thinking, I gotta test things out pretty quickly. Like, I want to know pretty quickly that things are flowing in there and that things go well, and I want this quickly. And so at this point, again, we're breaking off. Red pill man goes this way and the red pill woman goes her own way. So we are again not making a red pill connection here. It's just not working out. Okay, let's pretend, for the sake of argument, that they do make it past, say, the third date. The third date, I've heard that as a number for a lot of men, where if they're not having sex at that point, they're just going to drop you. So we're past the third date and we're still together. What is the next hurdle? Well, the next hurdle is our timeline here. So Mary Sue wants to get married. She has heard stories, maybe seen some friends who have been in a relationship for years and years and years and years, and her guy still hasn't proposed. Mary Sue doesn't want to be that girl. Mary Sue wants to get married. Mary Sue wants a man to commit to her after a few months. She is going to want Chad to commit to her. Maybe not marriage yet, but at least to say, hey, we're boyfriend, girlfriend. We're together. This is us, and we are going to work together towards marriage. Now, Chad, on the other hand, he just got out of his long, messy divorce. He is not looking to get married again, ever. Okay? And he's even wary of getting into a relationship. A lot of these stereotypical red pill men will even try to do something called plating, where they just have lots of situationships, and maybe the girls in these situationships think that they're in a relationship, but in Chad's mind, they're not in a relationship. So Chad, he's not going to want to pick any girl as a girlfriend for at least like a year of dating her. I've even heard a year of dating before you make a girl your girlfriend. So we have wildly mismatched timelines and relationship goals. Chad and Mary Sue, we're not working out. It's not happening. Just for the sake of argument, let's pretend that it's a few months along and they're still together. What is going to happen next? Well, remember, Chad's been in this relationship where maybe he felt like he was pulling all the weight. Maybe he went to work, he came home, he did all the chores. As soon as he walked in the door, he was in charge of all the childcare, and he just felt like he was doing everything for the family and that his wife gave nothing back. Because of this, Chad is going to be looking for a woman who gives him a high level of attention, who is just very giving and is very service oriented towards him. So he's going to make her jump through a lot of hoops. I've heard, some red pill advice to guys with things like saying, make her text 3 times before you text her back. Or, really like just asking a lot of favors and stuff to make sure that she is really committed and really into him, that this woman is really willing to put in work into the relationship as well as him. He's kind of wanting to sit back on this one and let her do a lot of the work. Mary Sue over here, she doesn't want to become too attached to a man who just isn't that into her. Remember, she is dating for marriage, and she knows that she kind of needs to guard her heart against becoming attached to men who just aren't as much into her as she is to him. So she sees Chad over here, she's texting him, and he's maybe not texting back. Or, maybe she's invited him to dinner and brought him a little gift or something. He is just maybe not making him himself available to that, she is going to think, wow, Chad, he just isn't that into me, or I'm not sure what's going on with Chad. So I'm gonna back off. Like, I don't want to bother him if these feelings aren't reciprocated. Or maybe he's just busy and this isn't a good time for a relationship for him, but it's a good time for a relationship for me. So I'm going to back off, and if he wants a relationship, then he'll maybe start to pursue me more when it's a good time for him. But right now I'm thinking that maybe it's not a good time for Chad, or maybe he's just not very interested in me. So I'm going to back off the text. Maybe the cookies that I brought him last week, maybe that made him feel a little uncomfortable. So maybe I shouldn't do things like that anymore. And so here we're parting ways again. Mary Sue says, I'm going to back off because he's not really reciprocating attention. And Chad is saying, whoa, she's not jumping through hoops to make me happy. Is this what a relationship with Mary Sue is going to be like? And so again, we're parting ways. Chad and Mary Sue, I am sorry, but you are not a match. And that's going to bring us to our next little point, and that is monogamy. Mary Sue goes to church. She's religious. She's conservative. She wants a family with a traditional man who has the means to support her in a family, and to her, the default of our Western civilization, monogamy is the expectation for her. She needs a man who is going to put his time and his resources into the building of a family. Now, a lot of red pill men are not looking to be monogamous. I brought up the term plates a few minutes ago, like you're spinning a bunch of plates. If one drops off and breaks, if a girl gets fed up with you and she goes away, that's fine. You just go out and get another plate. You go out and get another girl at the club, and you just have a rotation of girls that you're dating. And so that is Chad. He is going on the dating apps, and he's just rotating through 3 or 4 girls. And remember, he got out of his messy divorce. He doesn't want to get married anytime soon. And lots of women nowadays are fine with casual sex. They're fine with these situationships, so why not? Why is Chad going to commit? Chad's not going to commit. Chad is going to get all his sweet, pretty honey, and he's going to just, be dating a few, and he's not going to want to commit to one woman necessarily. And so that sticky little issue of monogamy is another thing that is going to keep red pill men and red pill women away from each other. So I hope you can see now why you maybe shouldn't be looking for a red pill man. It's just, it sounds intuitive, like red pill men and red pill women would be a really good match, but in reality, they're actually usually not a good match. I know that I've done a lot of stereotyping. There are red pill women who are liberal, who are atheist, who want to be child-free. So not every woman in the red pill is going to fit the stereotype of Mary Sue. And so I need to be fair to the red pill men too. Not every red pill man is going to be our Chad. Some red pill men do want to start families. Some red pill men are monogamous and want to be good leaders. So there are red pill men who could actually be a really good match for red pill women, but they have to have shared values and shared goals for that to work. For that reason, I say maybe don't look specifically for a red pill man. Maybe look specifically for somebody who shares your values and goals, and he may or may not consider himself red pill. If you do find out that the man that you are seeing is red pill, like, I don't want you to start panicking. Well, Natalie in the Feminine Frame, she said, all red pill guys are like Chad. No, I think just keep your eyes and your heart open, and be really clear on what your relationship status is and what your timelines are, what your end goals are, and pay attention to what kind of red pill content he's watching. Not all red pill content is the same. For example, if he's watching a lot of red pill content that focuses on shaming and blaming women, well, that might be a little bit more of a red flag or not compatible with your end goals. But a lot of red pill content is focused on masculinity and self-improvement and mission building, and that's a green flag. Those are good things. So if you know that your guy is getting into the red pill or is in the red pill, pay attention to what kind of content he's consuming. Pay attention, make sure that you have those same goals, those same timelines. Be clear on the issue of monogamy. And in that case, if you're all green lights there, then it could actually be a really, really good match. But like I said, don't go out specifically looking for a red pill man necessarily. Be looking for that guy who does want to get married, who wants a wife to stay home and raise his children and take care of him, and someone who does have a mission and a direction in life, those sorts of things. So we're not looking for a red pill man necessarily. We're looking for a guy who shares values and shares a mission and life goals. So where are you going to find that guy? Well, if you are religious, then church is an excellent place to meet that guy. If you do lean more conservatively, as many red pill women do, then political rallies and political meetups and such can be a place to meet guys. Go hang out where guys are at. Go to the boat show. Go fishing. Take golf lessons. Go to the gun range. You could take some sort of fitness class that's a little bit more collaborative. I know a lot of guys are afraid to approach women in the gym nowadays, but you could take some sort of fitness class, like a martial arts course, or maybe there's a running club or CrossFit, something that appeals to you, where there's going to be a good mix of men and women, where there's a little bit more of a social aspect to it and there's a little bit more interaction. That can be a good place to meet guys. I don't want to rule out dating apps because that is the most common way to meet people. You might be wading through a lot of men there, but that is a way. If you're willing to go on a lot of dates and meet a lot of men and don't get too fatigued with that, then dating apps are a way that you can meet men. If you are a part of, say, a specific culture or religion, then see if there's a niche dating app. See if you can join a Catholic dating community. See if farmersonly.com, you know what, if there's some sort of niche community that you're part of, then that is an avenue that you can try and see if there are meetups for that community. If there's a dating app specific to that community, then that could be a really good resource for you to meet men. Another really, really great resource that a lot of women are underutilizing to find men is their friends and family and acquaintances. It can feel really embarrassing to tell people that you are looking for a relationship, that you are looking for love. A lot of women might feel very self-conscious about asking their friends and family if they know anyone. These are going to be people who are really invested in your happiness, that those people have vouched for him. Now it's not fail safe. And just being active in your social circles. I know that a lot of times, especially if you're an introvert, you just want to sit home and work on your hobbies at home with nobody else around. But it might be really beneficial to you to make a little bit more of an effort to get out there and be social. Go to events that your friends are hosting. Accept invites to go out with them, and you might meet people out and about that way. Alrighty, I hope that this video was helpful for you. I'm glad that you joined me today. And remember, we're not necessarily looking for a red pill man. We're looking for a man with shared values and shared goals. Thank you for joining me. I hope that this was helpful in clearing up that question. Just don't be afraid to put yourself out there. You have to get out and be in front of men if you want to find a man. You can't hide away in your home. You're going to have to put yourself out there. But if you put yourself in front of men and you know what you're looking for, your chances of finding a match are going to significantly increase. So good luck. Happy hunting, ladies. Hope you snag one.